Chosen one. Listen carefully. Something has been shifting around you, subtle, invisible, yet undeniable. You've felt it in the atmosphere, haven't you? The tension before every breakthrough, the sudden opposition that appears out of nowhere, the way peace comes and goes like waves against the shore. That's not coincidence. That's movement in the spirit realm. Your existence has disrupted the balance between heaven and hell. You are the reason the war has intensified. The moment you chose light, darkness noticed. The moment you began to heal, the enemy marked you. And when you refused to quit, heaven reinforced you. You became the spark that drew angels to attention and demons to unrest. That's why lately your spirit feels heavy, even when your hands are empty. It's not just emotion, it's impact. You are walking through a storm that was stirred because of your calling. There's a rhythm in heaven's army when a chosen one awakens. The angels march, the heavens hum, the spiritual world shifts like oceans responding to the moon. You don't always hear the sound, but your spirit recognizes it. Every prayer you've whispered has turned into a blade of light. Every tear has become a seed sown into eternity. The Word of God declares in the book of Nahum, chapter 1, verse 7, "The Lord is good, a stronghold in trouble. He knows those who trust in Him." You are known. That's why both realms move when you breathe. You carry divine authority, and hell cannot ignore it. When you pray, invisible walls crack. When you speak truth, falsehood trembles. When you worship, chains fall off souls you've never met. Let me tell you a story. There was once a man who lived years in silence, believing God had forgotten his name. He lost friends, opportunities, even his sense of direction. But one night, in the stillness, he heard a voice not of this world. It didn't promise comfort. It commanded him to rise. And when he did, the same people who doubted him saw the evidence of heaven resting on his life. He wasn't special because he was strong. He was chosen because he didn't stop trusting. You are walking that same road. Your delays are not denials. They are divine pauses designed to prepare your steps for greater authority. Heaven has been training you in secret. You thought you were being buried, but really, you were being planted. The soil was heavy because the roots needed to grow deep enough to hold the weight of your calling. Imagine your spirit as a fortress on a cliff. The waves of darkness crash against it daily, yet inside that fortress burns a light no storm can extinguish. That light is the presence of God within you. Every time you stand firm, that light shines brighter, and the darkness panics because it cannot comprehend it. You've wondered why betrayal hurts more for you than for others, why spiritual attacks come without warning, why sometimes you wake up with a heaviness that no words can explain. It's because you are not fighting for victory, you are fighting from it. Heaven already sees you crowned. The battle is simply proving what was already declared. Chosen one. Your warfare is not punishment, it's proof of your position. The enemy does not waste energy on the uncalled. Hell's attention is confirmation of heaven's assignment. The shaking around you is the echo of your own rising authority. Take a breath. You've made it through storms that others didn't survive. That resilience isn't pride, it's prophecy. You are the living proof that God still moves mountains, still restores, still chooses unlikely vessels. You are being refined, not rejected. You are the bridge between heaven's mercy and earth's pain. When you walk, you carry the fragrance of redemption. When you speak, your voice becomes an altar. And though the world may not see it, the spirit realm does. That's why the enemy fears your awakening. Because once you truly know who you are, you will no longer chase validation. You will command alignment. If your heart is pounding right now, that's the spirit confirming truth. This is not random. Heaven has paused your scrolling because your time of awakening has come. What once felt like endless warfare will soon make sense. The battle was never to destroy you, it was to reveal you. Now, as you feel this truth stirring inside, don't keep it to yourself. Share this message so another warrior might remember their worth. Like it if it spoke to your spirit. Subscribe if you want to keep walking in revelation, not confusion. And let your comment be a declaration of faith, not fear. Type 777 below as a sign that you trust the stronghold of the Lord and stand with heaven's army. This is your moment to declare, I am known, I am protected, I am chosen. You were marked long before you understood the meaning of destiny. From the first breath you drew, something about you carried a different weight, a presence that both heaven and hell recognized. People might have seen a fragile child, but the spirit realm saw an emerging warrior. Before you even knew what spiritual warfare was, the battle had already begun. There were nights when you cried without reason, days when silence felt heavy. You thought you were too emotional, too sensitive, too different. But that sensitivity wasn't a flaw, it was evidence. You were designed to perceive beyond the surface, to feel spiritual tremors long before others noticed them. That was heaven's way of training your discernment early. The enemy saw that mark too. That's why your warfare started before your understanding did. Others coasted through childhood, but you carried invisible weight. You faced rejection without cause, loss without explanation, and loneliness without logic. It wasn't because you were cursed, it was because your spirit was being refined before it could be used. As written in the book of Hosea, chapter 2, verse 14, I will allure her, bring her to the wilderness, and there I will speak tenderly to her. Those words reveal heaven's pattern. The wilderness is not punishment, it is the classroom of the chosen. You were lured there, not abandoned. The silence you mistook for divine absence was God's way of separating you from distractions so that His whisper could reach you clearly. There was a time you thought your life was falling apart, but in truth, it was falling into alignment. Every door that closed, every friend that faded, every plan that collapsed, all of it stripped away the noise so you could finally hear the one voice that mattered. God wasn't ignoring you, He was isolating you to preserve the purity of your purpose. You were marked from birth, and that mark carried weight, like a hidden seal pressed into wax. It cannot be erased, only revealed when fire touches it. That's why your trials have been so intense. Fire doesn't destroy what is sealed by heaven, it only exposes what's been written there all along. Think of yourself as a letter heaven sent into time. Your story is the ink, your pain, the punctuation. Every season has added a sentence, and though some lines have been hard to read, none of them are wasted. The same hand that wrote your beginning still holds your ending. You've walked through people's misunderstanding, through nights of unseen warfare, through the ache of being different. Yet through it all, you've never truly lost the sense that something greater was at work. That sense was not imagination, it was recognition. Heaven has been watching your journey the whole time. There's a story of a woman who spent years in waiting, unseen and uncelebrated. Her prayers echoed back in silence. She began to think heaven had forgotten her. But one evening, while tending to what seemed like another ordinary task, the Spirit whispered, "The wilderness is almost over." Within months, every delay transformed into divine appointment. She realized the waiting wasn't wasted, it was welding her spirit for what was next. That same grace surrounds you now. The mark on you is heaven's claim, it cannot be revoked, only fulfilled. Every struggle, every delay, every moment that tried to break you has instead proven what you carry. The wilderness has done its work. You have learned what few dare to learn: how to trust when heaven is quiet, how to hope when nothing moves, how to keep walking when the path disappears. Those are not just lessons, they are weapons. You are marked, chosen, and remembered. The enemy may try to obscure your identity, but he cannot erase divine handwriting. Heaven's mark burns brighter than any wound you've endured. And when the appointed time arrives, what was hidden will be revealed, not with noise, but with unmistakable glory. And when that revelation comes, it won't arrive with fanfare, it will come quietly, like dawn unfolding over a battlefield, finally still. You'll sense it before you see it. The peace after the storm, the clarity after confusion. Heaven will not announce it with trumpets, but your spirit will know. This is the moment everything turns. The same places that once wounded, you will become the soil where miracles grow. You'll return to those memories, not with pain, but with gratitude, realizing that even suffering was a teacher dressed in shadows. Every tear will find its purpose. Every no will reveal the hidden yes that was waiting in divine timing. What felt like loss will shine as preparation. The mark remains, unshaken, untouched, heaven's signature upon your destiny. You remember the moment darkness first noticed you. It didn't happen with thunder or lightning, it happened in the stillness, when you began to see differently. The day you started to forgive those who never apologized. The moment you chose faith over fear. The instant you said, "I'm done running." That's when something shifted in the spirit realm. Heaven smiled. Hell flinched. You didn't even realize it, but your obedience caused disturbance. The invisible world noticed the movement of your heart. Angels aligned. Shadows stirred. The enemy whispered, "Not this one, not again." But it was too late. Your awakening had already begun. That's the danger of a chosen one becoming aware. Once you see who you are, you cannot be unseen. Your light announces itself before you speak. It walks into rooms first, making hidden things tremble. That's why lately you've felt strange resistance, not because you're cursed, but because your very presence exposes lies. The voice of God thundered in the book of Joshua, chapter 1, verse 9, "Be strong and courageous, do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." That command still echoes through time. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's the refusal to bow to it. Every time you rise again, heaven stands taller with you. Every time you push forward, the sound of your faith sends tremors through hell's foundations. There was once a woman who faced endless betrayal. Friends turned. Opportunities vanished. and silence from heaven grew heavy. Yet in that silence, she decided one thing: to keep showing up in prayer. No fancy words, just presence. One morning she felt peace descend like morning dew. No explanation. No angelic vision, only calm. From that moment, her warfare shifted. Darkness lost its access to her emotions because she had anchored herself in trust. You've done the same, even if you don't see it yet. You've endured nights of questioning, but still whispered, "I'll keep believing." That whisper was louder in the spirit realm than any sermon. The enemy fears that quiet resilience. It's the proof that you cannot be manipulated anymore. Darkness has noticed you because your obedience has become dangerous. Your kindness disrupts curses. Your patience confuses demons. Every time you choose light, you expand heaven's territory on earth. You are not the hunted, you are the weapon. You might think your influence is small, but in the spirit, it's massive. The way you forgive changes bloodlines. The way you pray shifts destinies. The way you endure teaches heaven's patience to the world around you. You're not just surviving battles, you're rewriting them. And yes, the resistance feels personal because it is, but the victory will be, too. Every delay is becoming a testimony. Every unseen struggle will soon turn into visible glory. Heaven does not waste the pain of its warriors. Pause here. Feel the truth press against your heart. You were not meant to hide anymore. The war found you because you were born to end it. The pressure you feel is not punishment. It's proof that your light has broken through enemy lines. Now, let your faith respond. Not to impress anyone. Not to be seen, but to declare alignment. Type, "I still rise," in the comments. Because when you write those words, you're not just typing, you're testifying. You're reminding the darkness that you're still here, still chosen, still rising. Every letter becomes a proclamation. My fall was temporary. My comeback is divine. And truly, chosen one. The rising has already begun. And as you rise, the atmosphere begins to respond. The heaviness that once surrounded you starts to lose its grip. The same voices that mocked your persistence will soon whisper your name in awe. They will wonder how you survived, what should have broken you, but you'll know the answer. You didn't rise by strength, you rose by grace. Your scars will not be your shame, they will be your signature. Every wound you carry tells the story of how heaven kept you alive in battles others never saw. Don't hide them. They are proof that the fire burned. But it did not consume you. When you speak, people will feel the weight of authenticity that only the wounded can carry. And with every step forward, you reclaim territory. The ground you walk on becomes sacred again. Your laughter, once stolen by sorrow, returns as warfare because joy in the midst of pain confuses darkness more than any weapon. Your very existence becomes an act of defiance against despair. So, rise again, not for applause, but for assignment. The war that found you is now losing power because your spirit refuses to retreat. Heaven is proud. You've become everything hell feared you would be. There are moments when heaven's seal upon your soul feels almost tangible, an invisible weight pressing gently on your heart, reminding you that you are not ordinary. You might not see it reflected in mirrors or in people's opinions, but the spiritual world recognizes it instantly. There is something on you that cannot be copied, something stamped before your first breath. when eternity whispered your name. The seal is not a symbol for decoration, it is ownership. It means you belong to the kingdom that cannot be shaken. It means that though you walk among mortals, your origin is not of them. You are heaven's property in human form, sent to carry light into places that forgot what light feels like. As the prophet recorded in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 9, verse 4, "Go throughout the city of Jerusalem and put a mark on the foreheads of those who grieve and lament over all the detestable things done in it." Oh, that mark, invisible to the world, is visible to angels and demons alike. It signals to heaven's armies, "Protect this one." It warns darkness, "Do not touch what belongs to God." The seal upon your soul is the reason some accidents missed you. Some betrayals revealed themselves in time, and some dangers turned away without explanation. You thought it was luck, but it was covering. There's a story told among those who have endured seasons of silent protection. A man once walked home late through an empty street. He felt an inexplicable peace, though he knew it was unsafe. Later, someone told him that danger had been lurking in that very place that night. He realized then that it wasn't courage keeping him safe. It was the unseen mark of divine ownership. The same is true for you. You've survived situations that should have destroyed you because the seal on your soul screamed louder than the enemy's intent. Even when you drifted far from faith, heaven didn't remove it. God's claim doesn't expire. This seal also draws attention, both holy and hostile. People may not understand why some are drawn to you, while others feel unsettled by your presence. It's because the mark carries frequency, it hums with heaven's energy. Those aligned with light find comfort in you. Those aligned with darkness sense danger. You are a walking reminder that God still claims territory on earth. Sometimes the seal feels heavy because it demands separation. The marked cannot live like the unmarked. You've probably felt that inner tension, the struggle between wanting normalcy and sensing you were born for something more. That's not pride, it's calling. The seal resists compromise. It pulls you away from anything that threatens the purity of your assignment. There's a strange paradox in being chosen. You long for connection, yet heaven insists on consecration. You crave belonging, yet you're often placed in solitude. That isolation isn't rejection, it's refinement. The seal ensures your preparation isn't corrupted by imitation. You're being sculpted in silence so that when you finally speak, your words carry weight that shifts realities. Think of molten gold. Its purity is proven not by display, but by fire. The seal on your spirit functions the same way. It glows brightest when the heat is highest. Every trial you've endured has only confirmed heaven's ownership more deeply. The pressure didn't remove the mark, it etched it deeper. Even now, while you read this, heaven looks at you with recognition. You may feel small, forgotten, or weary, but the spiritual world sees a different picture. You shine in realms unseen, your name etched into divine memory. You are catalogued among those preserved for holy purpose, not perfect, but purified through persistence. There will come a time when that seal manifests outwardly. People will look at you and sense peace they cannot explain. Doors that were closed will open without struggle. Environments that once drained, you will shift when you arrive. It's not charisma, it's consecration. The mark you carry shifts atmospheres. Never doubt that you are known not for what you do, but for who you are in heaven's design. The seal is both identity and promise. It declares that no matter how fierce the battle, the outcome has already been written. You belong to the victorious side. So walk with quiet confidence. The mark on you is not a burden, it is a crown worn invisibly until it's time to shine. Those who mocked your isolation will one day understand it was incubation. The seal was never meant to hide you. It was meant to protect what the world wasn't yet ready to see. You are sealed. You are seen. You are safe. Your life has never been random. And neither have your battles. If you look closely, you'll see a pattern: every heartbreak, every delay, every unexpected turn has been woven together into a tapestry of divine design. You may not have understood it then, but your entire life has been a battlefield where heaven and hell have both made their claims. Every loss you faced wasn't the end, it was movement, a rearranging of the chessboard in your favor. Even when it felt like defeat, you've stood in the middle of invisible crossfire and didn't even know it. Every sleepless night, every heavy morning, every moment you thought was wasted has been part of a war fought over your destiny. Because your life is the ground where realms collide. Heaven plants purpose, hell sows doubt. Angels whisper courage, demons stir confusion. But through it all, you've remained, still breathing, still standing, still here. That alone is victory. There's a sacred beauty in realizing that your pain was never meaningless. You were never just enduring storms. You were teaching the atmosphere how to obey peace. Every tear was a baptism. Every disappointment, a pruning. Every silence, a sacred classroom. The writings of Paul remind us in the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 4, verse 8, we are hard-pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair. Those words were written for the ones who know how to keep walking, even when the ground shakes. For those who have cried yet refused to curse. For those who have been misunderstood but stayed kind. For those who have been broken yet somehow still believe. That's you, the proof that faith can survive fire. Imagine for a moment your life as a great tree. Every storm that bent its branches only deepened its roots. The winds that once terrified you have now become familiar voices, reminders that you are still standing. Some leaves fell away. Yes, but look closer. New ones are already growing. You are not losing, you are renewing. And as you listen now, if this message has found a home in your heart, I know this, you are not alone in this journey. There are others walking through the same unseen wars, learning how to turn pain into prayer, wounds into worship. Together, we become a forest of endurance, a collective light that darkness cannot drown out. That's why these words exist, to reach hearts like yours, to remind you that you are seen, that your story matters, that your resilience is changing something far beyond your sight. If these messages have strengthened you, consider helping them reach another soul. When you like this video, you drop another spark into the darkness. When you share, you hand that spark to someone still shivering in the night. And when you subscribe, you plant your roots deeper into a community that grows together toward light. Each action may seem small, but heaven notices movement born of sincerity. One click, one gesture, one yes spoken quietly can ripple like wind through wheat fields, stirring hearts you will never meet. And for those who feel led to go beyond, to donate, hear this clearly. It is never a requirement, only an invitation. Picture your gift as oil poured into a lantern that keeps burning through the long hours before dawn. You are not buying blessings, you are fueling light. Your giving becomes the whisper that keeps hope alive in places you'll never see. Every share is a seed, every subscription a root, every donation a flame. Together they create warmth that no darkness can extinguish. So if you choose to give, do it freely, joyfully, as one who knows that generosity is not measured in numbers but in love. Think of it as releasing a dove into the sky, trusting that it will carry peace somewhere it's needed most. You have survived your battlefield, chosen one. But your story doesn't end in survival, it's shifting into significance. The world needs what you carry, and every act of faith you make, no matter how small, becomes light for someone else, still finding their way through the dark. And when you give, whether time, faith, or love, heaven keeps record, not in numbers, but in fragrance, like incense rising unseen. Every act becomes a prayer that lingers long after your voice goes silent. The smallest gesture, done with a pure heart, shakes eternity. It reminds the world that compassion still breathes, that hope still has a pulse. You may never see the faces you've helped, but heaven will, and that is enough. Keep your heart open, your light steady, your spirit generous, because the story God is writing through you has only just begun. There comes a moment when heaven decides enough is enough, when the sound of your endurance summons the armies of angels to rise on your behalf. You may not see the swords drawn, but you can feel it, that subtle shift in the air, that sudden peace after long confusion. It's the moment when heaven whispers, "They've fought long enough. Now, we fight for them." Now, every prayer you've ever spoken has been stored, not lost. Every tear you thought dried in silence has been collected, not forgotten. Heaven has been recording your perseverance. And there's a time when those records turn into warfare, not by your might, but by divine command. That's when angels draw their swords. You might not hear the clash, but you've seen its effects. Suddenly, the door that never opened begins to move. The person who wronged you loses the power to hinder your path. The confusion that clouded your mind begins to lift like fog at sunrise. This is not coincidence. It's intervention. As written in the book of Psalms, chapter 34, verse 7, "The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him, and he delivers them." And that verse is not poetry, it's policy. The protection you've felt, the impossible escapes you've experienced, the near misses that left you breathless, they were not luck, they were strategy. Heaven assigned sentinels around you, invisible guardians stationed at the borders of your destiny. There's a story of a chosen one who prayed without knowing angels stood behind every word. She didn't ask for victory, she simply said, "Lord, I trust you." That one whisper shifted nations in the spirit realm. Months later, what once seemed locked opened suddenly, effortlessly. Heaven doesn't need noise to move, it needs alignment. Sometimes, your silence in prayer speaks louder than any sermon. Angels understand obedience better than words. When you choose peace over revenge, they draw closer. When you forgive, they swing their swords. Every quiet decision you make to honor God strengthens heaven's response on your behalf. But here's the mystery. The darker the warfare, the closer the reinforcement. The enemy always increases noise right before heaven releases movement. So if lately it feels heavier, louder, more relentless, that's confirmation. The armies have already been dispatched. The trembling you sense in the unseen isn't defeat, it's divine movement. You may have thought you were alone in your fight. But look again. Every step forward has been escorted by unseen warriors. You've walked through fire. Yes. But notice the flames never consumed you. You were protected by presence, not by coincidence. Think of a great battlefield under moonlight. You stand in the center, weary but unbroken. Around you, legions move silent, disciplined, unstoppable. That's what surrounds you in the spirit realm right now. The enemy sees it, even if you don't. That's why certain attacks stopped suddenly, why certain people could no longer reach you. Heaven intervened. And when angels draw their swords, the atmosphere changes. The storms that once terrified you begin to obey your peace. Your words carry new weight because heaven echoes them. Even your silence unsettles darkness. You've become not just a survivor, but a signal proof that heaven defends its own. You've made it this far, not by accident, but by assistance. Those near-death moments, those impossible recoveries, those divine delays, all of them were the evidence of angels at work. They blocked what was meant to destroy you and cleared what was meant to elevate you. So now, even when you can't feel them, know this: your prayers still command armies. You've never been unseen. The angels have been watching, waiting for heaven's signal. And now they move with purpose. Every time you whisper, "Lord," He still trusts you. Swords flash in the unseen. Every time you breathe forgiveness, shackles break somewhere else. Every time you choose love over bitterness, a gate in heaven swings open. You've walked through valleys no one applauded you for. Yet your faith became the anthem that heaven responds to. The battle isn't over, but the balance has shifted. The enemy no longer pursues, he retreats. Because once heaven takes the front line, victory becomes inevitable. So as you breathe right now, let gratitude rise. Not because the war is easy, but because you've never fought it alone. Angels march beside you, silent protectors. Heaven's answer to your endurance. You are covered, guarded, carried. And if your spirit feels that peace settling in, let this moment become your declaration. Type 4,444 inches. The comments, not as superstition, but as a covenant reminder. Heaven has surrounded me. Those 4 digits are not random, they represent the 4 corners of protection. The complete circle of divine covering that no darkness can invade. Let it be your statement of faith, quiet, pure, powerful, because when heaven draws its sword, no weapon formed against you can remain. There is something that happens in the spirit realm when you decide to keep going. Hell grows disparity. The enemy expected you to break, expected your hope to fade under pressure. But every time you rise again, you rewrite the script he planned against you. Your persistence frustrates him more than your power ever could. You've noticed it, haven't you? The moments when you take one step forward in faith, and suddenly everything seems to come against you. People misunderstand you. Confusion clouds your mind. Unexpected chaos knocks at your door. It's not random, it's reaction. Every time you move toward destiny, hell sends distraction. The enemy doesn't fear your weakness, he fears your awakening. Because once you realize that you've already been chosen, you stop fighting for approval and start walking in authority. That shift terrifies darkness. It means his lies lose their hold. We find in the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 31, "If God is for us, who can be against us?" Those words aren't comfort, they're confrontation. They declare that no matter who plots, no matter what whispers arise, the final word still belongs to God. That truth makes hell tremble. Because when you stand in alignment with heaven, opposition becomes confirmation. The enemy's desperation is loud, but it's also revealing. He wouldn't attack what he didn't fear. Think about it. The thief never breaks into an empty house. If you felt an unusual increase in warfare lately, it's not proof that you're weak. It's evidence that you're valuable. There's a story of a man who decided to rebuild his life after losing everything. The moment he began, distractions multiplied. People mocked. Finances crumbled. Even his closest friend turned away. For months, nothing made sense. Then, one night, as he prayed for understanding, he felt a strange peace. In his spirit, he heard, "The enemy always roars loudest before he retreats." Within weeks, doors began to open. What was meant to break him became the birthplace of a new beginning. That's how God works. He lets the enemy reveal himself before he removes him. The more desperate hell becomes, the closer your deliverance is. Desperation is noise. Faith is stillness. You don't have to match the chaos. You only have to stand firm in calm. The storm may shout, but you are learning the language of peace. And peace is power. You've probably noticed how some battles seem to repeat the same temptations, the same fears, the same cycles. That repetition isn't because you're failing, it's because you're about to master what once mastered you. The enemy keeps testing the same gates because he hasn't yet accepted that they're fortified. Sometimes the greatest proof of growth is not in what changes around you, but in what no longer controls you. The words that once wounded you now fall harmlessly to the ground. The temptations that once drew you in now bore you. That's deliverance in disguise. Think of your spirit as a fortress surrounded by high walls of endurance. The enemy circles it daily, looking for cracks, but finds none that stay open. You've grown too wise to his tactics, too grounded in truth to fall for imitation. You may feel weary, but you're no longer fragile. You're fortified. The desperation of hell is also the announcement of heaven's nearness. When pressure intensifies, heaven is positioning you. When confusion rises, clarity is forming. Every struggle you've endured has been birthing new strength. You've been learning how to walk in authority quietly, not with noise, but with knowing. There's a strange silence that follows a breaking point, not emptiness, but recalibration. That's where you are now. Heaven is resetting your rhythm. You're learning to respond, not react. You're realizing that the same fire that once threatened to consume you has now become your forge. The enemy's desperation can no longer dictate your direction. You've outgrown manipulation. You've stopped feeding battles that don't deserve your energy. That's not apathy, it's discernment. You're learning to let peace fight for you. And though you may still feel the echo of old wars, you've already shifted dimensions. You're not fighting for identity anymore. You're walking from it. The fight is changing because you're changing. What once intimidated you now fuels you. What once wounded you now strengthens you. Hell is desperate because heaven has decided The outcome was written long before the battle began. You are not losing control, you're gaining clarity. And soon, what feels like resistance will reveal itself as refinement, the final shaking before stillness settles in. So, rest. The noise around you is just the sound of darkness realizing it has no hold left. There are weapons forged in secret that the enemy never expected you to discover. Not swords of steel or fire, but weapons made of endurance, praise, and quiet obedience. You've been learning how to fight without shouting, how to win without striking, how to conquer simply by standing firm when everything tries to move you. The most dangerous believer is not the loudest one, but the one who knows how to worship while waiting. You've become that kind of warrior, steady, silent, strategic. Your power doesn't come from control, it comes from surrender. You've learned that the hands raised in praise are stronger than fists clenched in anger. According to the book of Proverbs, chapter 21, verse 31, the horse is prepared for the day of battle, but victory belongs to the Lord. 1. That verse is a revelation of strategy. Preparation is your part. The outcome is His. You've been sharpening unseen weapons through your pain, patience forged in delay, compassion born from betrayal, faith strengthened by silence. These are not ordinary tools. They are instruments of divine warfare. There's a story told of a woman who faced constant disappointment. Every time she built something, it collapsed. Every time she trusted, betrayal followed. Yet she never turned bitter. Instead, she started thanking God in the middle of the collapse. Her praise became defiance. Years later, everything she lost was restored, but different, purer. She realized that her thanksgiving had been her weapon all along. That's how the kingdom works. Praise is not denial, it's declaration. When you worship through warfare, you remind darkness that it has limits. Your song becomes a sword, your faith, a fortress. Even silence becomes armor when your heart stays aligned with heaven. You've carried weapons you didn't know you had. The tears you cried were holy water. The patience you showed was a shield. Every act of kindness in the face of cruelty sent shockwaves through the unseen. The enemy counts on your reaction, but you've learned to respond instead. And that difference changes everything. Think of a blacksmith working by firelight. He strikes the metal again and again, not to destroy it, but to strengthen it. That's what God has done with your life. Every strike has shaped endurance. Every spark that flew was a glimpse of coming glory. The weapon being forged wasn't your circumstances, it was you. Your worship in the wilderness was a declaration, I will not bow to fear. Your endurance through heartbreak said, I still trust. Your perseverance in confusion shouted louder than any sermon. The very things the enemy meant to silence you became the melody of your victory. Even your scars are strategic. They're proof that the fire couldn't consume you. They carry spiritual resonance when you speak. Others feel it. That's because heaven turns pain into authority. You're not just healed, you're weaponized with wisdom. There's a power that flows from quiet believers who refuse to surrender. The world sees stillness as weakness, but heaven calls it mastery. You've learned how to carry peace like a shield, how to let patience confuse the adversary, how to let love outlast hate. That's not survival, that's dominion. The weapons of the chosen aren't made in comfort. They're born in long nights of questioning, in the moments when you nearly gave up, but didn't. Each time you rose again, a new weapon was formed, unseen, unspoken, unstoppable. Now, you carry an arsenal within you, wisdom sharp enough to cut through deception, faith strong enough to move mountains, compassion fierce enough to disarm cruelty. You don't fight like before. You move with discernment now. The battles are still there, but your spirit has changed form. You've become the weapon that darkness fears. Remember this, truth, weapons forged in light cannot be defeated by shadows. Your peace terrifies the enemy more than your power. Your endurance breaks chains that shouting never could. You are not waiting for strength. You are strength, refined and radiant. Every wound you've endured has turned into something sacred. You've been tempered, not broken, like steel cooled after the forge. Your spirit gleams with quiet authority. The same fire that once hurt you now bows to you. So, hold your ground, not in panic, but in peace. You are armed with unseen power, the kind that doesn't shout, the kind that lasts. The battle is not over, but you've already become the weapon that wins it. You were never meant to fight like the world fights. Your silence is strategy. Your peace is proof of power. Heaven has trained you in the art of invisible victory, the kind that leaves no scars, only light. And now, wherever you go, darkness recognizes you not as prey, but as proof that fire serves the faithful. There are moments when heaven delays what you asked for, not to deny you, but to deliver you correctly. The waiting seasons, the unanswered prayers, the pauses that made you question everything, all of them were strategic. Delay is not denial. It's divine choreography. You thought you were standing still, but heaven was rearranging your path so that promise and purpose would collide at the right moment. You've lived through those pauses, haven't you? The prayers that seemed ignored, the plans that crumbled just when you thought you were ready. It felt cruel, but in truth, it was care. God withholds what's premature because He knows early blessings can become heavy burdens. As spoken through the prophet Zephaniah, chapter 3, verse 17, "The Lord your God is in your midst, the mighty one who saves. He rejoices over you with singing and love." That verse is a revelation even in delay. God is near. His silence isn't distance, it's devotion. He doesn't abandon you in the waiting. He sings over you while preparing what's next. Heaven has been more active in your quiet seasons than you realize. There's a story of a chosen one who prayed for breakthrough for years. Nothing shifted. People told her maybe God had said no. But deep in her spirit, she felt a whisper, "Wait until I finish building what you're praying for." Months later, the very door that had refused to open burst wide, and she realized the delay had been construction time. Your delay has been construction too. Heaven has been preparing not just the promise, but the person you. There were places your heart needed to heal, lessons your eyes needed to see, patience your spirit had to learn. Delay became the training ground for dominion. Think of it this way. A seed doesn't question the darkness of the soil. It trusts the process. The unseen pressure above it is proof that growth has begun. You've been that seed, pressed into hiddenness, surrounded by silence, not buried, but planted. And soon, what was beneath will break through into brilliance. Heaven's delays are protective walls. Sometimes what you begged for would have distracted you from what you were built for. Sometimes what you thought was punishment was simply preservation. Every locked door kept you from entering a room not yet safe for your calling. If you look closer, you'll notice that heaven's no always hides a better not yet. The waiting stripped away the unnecessary, refined your motives, and made your discernment sharper. You learned that success without timing is still failure. Now, you no longer chase doors, you discern seasons. There's a beauty in this kind of maturity. You stop demanding explanations and start trusting execution. You realize God isn't ignoring you. He's editing your story for a better ending. What felt like pause was actually placement. Every detour has secretly been direction. You've been walking through invisible preparation. Heaven hasn't forgotten your name. It's been echoing it in rooms you haven't entered yet. That's why sometimes people remember you suddenly. Opportunities resurface, or peace returns. Out of nowhere, those are signals that alignment is nearing. So, breathe. The delay is ending. The waiting was never wasted. Heaven's clock is about to strike in your favor. The same God who allowed the pause will soon release acceleration, and when it comes, you'll see why you had to wait. Because when heaven finally moves, it redeems time. Years of waiting become days of restoration. What took others a lifetime will take you a season, because patience prepared the foundation, and when that door opens, it won't require striving, it will recognize you. You'll step through, not as the same person who started waiting, but as the one who learned how to wait well. If this truth resonates in your spirit, let it settle in faith. And when you're ready, comment below. Time obeys. Those two words aren't a wish, they're a declaration. You're not chasing timing anymore. Timing is responding to you. The heavens are aligning, and what's yours is already on its way. And when timing finally bows to divine order, everything begins to fit. The missed chances, the heartbreaks, the long nights of silence, they reveal themselves as pieces of a masterpiece you couldn't see being painted. You'll realize heaven never forgot. It was perfecting the frame before revealing the art. The delay becomes your credential. You'll speak with a depth that only waiting can teach, carrying peace that cannot be faked. People will listen not because of what you say, but because of what you've survived. Waiting made you weighty, and now destiny moves toward you. Steady, deliberate, unstoppable. There comes a sacred intersection where heaven and hell both watch closely, the place where you stand between promise and decision. Every choice you make here carries eternal weight. It's not just about what you do, but why you do it. This is where purpose crystallizes and distractions dissolve. You are standing at the crossroads of realms, and everything around you is waiting for your next move. You've probably felt that tension, the pull between what's easy and what's right, between comfort and calling, between the loud path of the crowd and the quiet road of conviction. That's not confusion, that's confirmation. You're standing where destinies are decided, as written in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 7, verse 14. Small is the gate, narrow the road that leads to life, and few find it. That verse is more than instruction. It's an invitation. Heaven doesn't force your choice, it honors it. The narrow path isn't punishment, it's protection. It's where distractions can't survive and clarity begins to bloom. The wider road is full of noise, but the narrow one carries music that only the faithful can hear. You've been walking that narrow path for a while now, haven't you? The loneliness, the pruning, the silence. They were all part of your purification. But here, at this crossroad, heaven leans close again. There's a shift happening. The atmosphere feels charged, not with fear, but with destiny. Every step forward is holy ground now. There's a story about a man who stood by a river, unsure of whether to cross. The current looked fierce, and the water seemed too deep. But a quiet voice inside said, "Step in." When he obeyed, the current didn't stop, but it began to carry him. He realized obedience didn't always mean calm. Sometimes it meant movement. And on the other side, he found that every step of faith had prepared him to stand stronger. You're standing at your river too. It's not a literal one, but it feels just as real a choice to keep believing, to keep loving, to keep forgiving when it would be easier to quit. The crossing is uncomfortable, but the other side carries everything you've prayed for. And in moments like this, the Spirit often uses small reminders, a word, a video, a message to steady your heart. If these words have met you at the right time, it isn't coincidence, it's coordination. Heaven has ways of reaching hearts that algorithms never could. That's why when you like, share, or subscribe, it's not about numbers, it's about ripples. Each act is like dropping a pebble of light into dark waters, sending waves towards someone who may be standing at their own river, trembling but ready to cross. You become part of their miracle without even knowing it. Imagine this: every like is a spark carried by wind. Every share, a bridge built for another wandering soul. Every subscribe, a root planted in a growing forest of faith. Small actions, yes, but small seeds can grow into eternal trees. And if your heart feels stirred to do more, to help this message reach beyond screens and time zones, consider giving, not as duty, but as a beautiful exchange. Picture it like pouring water into a dry well so that others may drink hope. Donating isn't payment, it's participation. You're not buying grace, you're extending grace. Your generosity becomes like bread in a famine. It feeds the unseen, strengthens the weary, and tells heaven, I want to be part of this harvest. Whether it's a coin, a prayer, or a share, what matters most is the heart that gives it. And perhaps that's the secret of this crossroads. It's not just about the message you receive, but the legacy you choose to build through it. Every kind act, every quiet yes, every unseen gesture echoes louder in heaven than the grandest speeches ever could. So, if this message reaches something deep within you, take a moment to breathe it in. Let gratitude rise, not because you're told to give, but because your spirit longs to. If you choose to like, to share, to subscribe, or to donate, let it be from joy, not pressure. Because true giving is never a transaction, it's transformation. It's the heart saying, I want the light that found me to find someone else. No, the crossroads are not a place to fear, they're a place to become. And as you choose faith again today, in whatever form that takes, heaven writes it down as victory. Your journey continues. Not with noise, but with peace. Not with obligation, but with overflow. You are crossing into a new rhythm of grace where every act of faith, however small, becomes part of something eternal. There is a kind of silence that only those who walk closely with heaven understand, a silence that isn't absence but instruction. When everything around you seems loud, confusing, and shifting, God often chooses to speak in whispers. Those whispers are not for the crowds. They are for the chosen ones who have learned to listen beneath the noise. You've experienced that kind of silence before, the moments when you begged for a clear answer but received only stillness. It felt cruel then, but now you're beginning to see it differently. Heaven was teaching you to discern tone, not volume, direction, not distraction. When the storm was loudest, the whisper was clearest. It just required a different kind of listening, as recorded in the first book of Kings, chapter 19, verse 12. And after the earthquake came a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire came a gentle whisper. And that whisper carries weight. It's not sound, it's presence. The same God who thundered at Sinai also speaks in stillness. He whispers because he's close. The enemy shouts to intimidate from afar. But God leans in and speaks softly to those who walk beside him. The whisper often comes in the middle of contradictions. You're surrounded by chaos, yet peace rises inside. You're uncertain of tomorrow, yet a calm assurance settles in your chest. That is heaven's voice, subtle but steady, never rushed, always sure. There's a story of a man who spent years asking God for clarity. Every time life fell apart, he begged for a sign, thunder, lightning, a vision, something undeniable. Nothing came, until one night, exhausted and emptied, he simply sat in quiet. No music, no prayer, just stillness. In that silence, a sentence formed in his mind. You already know what to do. He realized then that heaven had been speaking the entire time. His own noise had been drowning it out. That's how God often guides his chosen, not through spectacle, but through subtlety. The divine whisper doesn't compete with the noise. It invites you to rise above it. It asks for quiet courage, the kind that moves slowly, listens deeply, and acts gently. There's wisdom in stillness. The world demands urgency, but heaven values rhythm. You've been learning to trust the pauses, to recognize that not every closed door is rejection. Sometimes it's redirection, whispered softly through delay. God's voice rarely shouts over chaos. He waits until your spirit grows calm enough to hear him clearly. Think of it like the ocean at dusk. When the waves finally settle, the reflection of the stars appears. The stars were always there. It just took stillness to see them. Heaven's whisper works the same way. It doesn't enter until the heart grows quiet enough to receive it. You've been led by that whisper more times than you realize. It's what stopped you from taking the wrong path when logic said, go. It's what told you to forgive when pride demanded vengeance. It's what guided you through decisions that didn't make sense at the time, but later proved perfect. The whisper is heaven's strategy. It bypasses confusion and speaks directly to your spirit. That's why you sometimes say, I just feel peace about this, even when you can't explain it. That's not emotion, that's instruction. As you mature spiritually, you begin to trust that inner alignment more. You stop seeking signs and start seeking stillness. You realize that discernment is heaven's language to those who wait in silence. The whisper may not give you full instructions, but it gives you enough for the next step. That's how faith grows, not by knowing everything, but by trusting the one who does. So, when the noise of life grows loud again, remember this truth. Heaven doesn't compete for your attention. It invites it. God's voice is never lost, only unheard by those who won't slow down. The quiet moments you used to rush past are the very spaces where your next direction is waiting. The storm may rage, but the whisper remains. The fire may burn, but the still, small voice endures. And every time you choose to listen, heaven leans closer, guiding you with gentleness that overcomes every roar. And when you finally recognize that voice, it no longer matters how loud the world becomes. You'll move with quiet certainty, untouched by noise, guided by peace. The whisper becomes your compass, small, steady, sacred, because once you've heard God in the silence, you can never be lost again. The path may twist, the winds may rise, but that gentle voice will always find you, reminding you that stillness is not empty, it's full of direction. There is a strange danger that appears when the light in you grows stronger, the danger of imitation. The enemy cannot destroy what is chosen, so he attempts to copy it. When he cannot silence a true voice, he creates echoes. When he cannot dim your fire, he sends false flames nearby to confuse your sight. That's what this season has been about. Not just warfare, but discernement. You've begun to notice it, haven't you? People who look pure but carry mixed motives. Opportunities that shine bright at first, but drain your spirit later. Paths that appear promising but pull you subtly away from peace. These are not coincidences, they are counterfeits. The enemy always sends imitation right before manifestation, as declared in the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 11, verse 14. And no wonder, for even Satan disguises himself as an angel of light. That scripture isn't meant to make you fearful, it's meant to make you focused. Not everything that glitters is grace. Some doors open quickly because they were never guarded. Some connections feel divine because they were designed to distract. Discernment isn't suspicion, it's spiritual eyesight. It allows you to tell the difference between what is good to you and what is good for you. There's a story of a chosen one who prayed for love. Soon, someone appeared kind, charismatic, understanding. It seemed perfect, but deep inside, her spirit felt uneasy. Every time she prayed for clarity, confusion increased, until one day, she stopped asking for signs and started asking for peace. That's when it became clear what she thought was a blessing had been bait. The moment she walked away, the heaviness lifted, and she learned peace is the proof of God's presence. You've faced similar moments. Something looked right, but your spirit whispered, not this. Maybe it was a job, a relationship, an offer, or even an opportunity that everyone else envied. The world said, yes, but heaven said, wait. You didn't understand then, but now you see, rejection was redirection. Heaven was saving you from what would have dimmed your discernment. Discernment is heaven's alarm system. It doesn't shout, it nudges. It's that subtle tightening in your chest, that hesitation before you commit, that small check in your spirit saying, slow down. The immature ignore it. The wise listen. The chosen obey. You are entering a season where clarity will matter more than speed. You cannot afford to chase everything that calls your name. Every opportunity isn't your assignment. Some are tests of maturity to see if you'll recognize heaven's tone amidst hell's imitation. Think of a skilled musician tuning an instrument. At first, the strings sound fine, but only the trained ear hears what's slightly off. That's discernment. You've been learning that same spiritual hearing. What once fooled you now fails to move you. You're no longer impressed by noise, you're anchored by truth. The enemy fears that growth, because once you discern clearly, he loses access permanently. His lies no longer land. His imitations lose their shine. You stop chasing approval because you've learned how to identify authenticity. Discernment will save you time, protect your heart, and preserve your destiny. It will teach you that not everyone assigned to your life is meant to walk beside you. Some were meant to reveal a lesson, not remain a presence. So now, as you stand in this moment of deeper awareness, let peace be your compass. If something costs your peace, it's too expensive for your spirit. The real always comes with rest. The counterfeit always comes with chaos. When the next opportunity arrives, don't rush to say yes. Pause and listen. If you feel pressure, it's flesh. If you feel peace, it's God. Heaven never hides in haste. It moves through stillness. You've grown too wise to fall for imitation now. The same traps that once caught you will crumble at your feet, because discernment has become your new armor, and peace your new weapon. If this truth stirs your spirit, let heaven hear your agreement. Type 555 inches, the comments not as a superstition, but as a declaration. I walk in discernment. Those 3 numbers represent grace, multiplied the awakening of spiritual clarity and divine favor. It's your symbolic act of saying, I will no longer be deceived by light that doesn't lead to life. You are seeing clearly now. Chosen one. And because you see clearly, you will walk safely, not just into promise, but into purity of purpose. And as you walk in that clarity, even darkness will recognize your vision. No imitation can follow you now. Your light has learned the truth of its own source. There is a season when heaven begins to separate you from everything that once defined you, not to isolate, but to consecrate. It feels like loss, but it's really refinement. God doesn't strip you to shame you. He strips you to strengthen you. Every removal, every pruning, every breaking has purpose. The fire of consecration is never comfortable, but it is always necessary. You've walked through that fire before. The sudden silence of friends who once promised forever, the jobs that vanished without warning, the prayers that returned unanswered. It all felt like abandonment. But heaven was doing surgery, not punishment. You were being purified from attachments that couldn't survive your next level. As written in the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 3, He will sit as a refiner and purifier of silver. He will purify the Levites and refine them like gold and silver. Now, that verse describes your current chapter perfectly. You've been sitting in the refiner's fire, not alone, but watched closely by divine hands. The silversmith never leaves the metal while it's burning. He stays near, eyes fixed, waiting for one moment, when he can see his reflection in the silver. That's when the refining is done. And that's what heaven has been waiting for in you, to see its reflection shining through your soul. You might not recognize the strength that has formed in you, but heaven does. Fire has a way of revealing what cannot be destroyed. It removes the unnecessary until only essence remains. That's why your circle has gotten smaller. Your tolerance for pretense lower. Your appetite for noise gone. You are being reduced to purity. There was once a man who lost everything he thought made him valuable title. friends, influence. For a while, he begged God to restore what was taken, but over time, he began to feel peace in the emptiness. He realized the fire hadn't destroyed him. It had delivered him from everything that pretended to sustain him. When restoration came, he no longer depended on what he had lost. He depended on who had remained. That's the hidden beauty of consecration. It detaches you from illusion and attaches you to truth. You start to see that not everyone who leaves is your enemy, and not every closed door is rejection. Some exits are heaven's escort, leading you to sacred ground. In the fire, masks melt. You see yourself clearly. You see God more deeply. You realize that holiness isn't about perfection, it's about alignment. You stop performing for acceptance and start resting in identity. You understand that what's being burned away isn't you, it's what's been hiding you. Consecration also brings solitude. God often pulls his chosen away from the crowd to recalibrate their hearts. In those quiet seasons, you start hearing again, dreaming again, believing again. The noise fades, and suddenly, the whisper of heaven becomes unmistakable. Imagine gold inside the furnace. It screams at first, not from pain, but from resistance. Yet as the heat continues, the impurities rise to the surface and are removed. What remains is brilliance that cannot be dulled. That's your story. You've been through the furnace, not as punishment, but as preparation for greater weight, the kind that requires purity to carry. Sometimes God removes comfort to reveal calling. He allows isolation to reveal integrity. It's in those moments that you learn who you truly are when no one is watching. And that identity, once forged in solitude, becomes unshakable when you return to the world. You are not being burned, you are being branded. The mark of the refiner stays with you forever, not as a scar, but as a signature. When people encounter you, they will sense peace they can't explain, strength they didn't expect, and wisdom that feels ancient. That's the evidence of consecration. What you've endured has refined your discernment, purified your desire, and sharpened your focus. The things that used to move you no longer do. You no longer chase crowds or cling to validation. You've learned to value presence over platform, purpose over popularity. That's holiness, not distance from people, but closeness to God. Soon, what was lost will return, but differently. It will come purified, multiplied, sanctified. You'll realize the fire was never meant to destroy your blessings. It was meant to disinfect them. So when new doors open, they'll open clean. When new relationships form, they'll form on truth. When new seasons arrive, they'll find you already prepared. This is the work of the refiner. And when you step out of the flame, you'll shine without trying, because heaven itself will recognize its reflection in you. There is a turning point in every war, that moment when what seemed like defeat quietly transforms into victory. It doesn't always happen with noise or visible signs. Sometimes it comes through stillness. Heaven shifts things silently. And by the time you notice, the battle has already changed direction. You've entered that kind of moment. The turning of the war has begun. It's subtle, but undeniable. You wake up with peace instead of panic. The thoughts that used to torment you no longer hold weight. The same circumstances that once drained you now strengthen you. That's not coincidence. That's spiritual momentum reversing. What once hunted you is now being hunted by heaven. The ancient writings in the book of Exodus, chapter 14, verse 14, proclaim, "The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." And that stillness isn't inactivity, it's alignment. It means you've stopped fighting battles that don't belong to you and started trusting the commander who never loses. You've laid down your panic and picked up peace. And in doing so, you've allowed heaven to move unhindered. The war turns not when you fight harder, but when you surrender deeper. There's a story of a young man who tried everything to fix his life plans, strategies, endless striving. The more he worked, the worse it became. One night, exhausted and hopeless, he finally said, "God, I can't do this anymore." In that surrender, something shifted, not instantly, but deeply. Within months, the chaos settled. What he couldn't win through effort, God resolved through peace. That's how battles turn, not by force, but by faith. The enemy loses power when you stop engaging him on his terms. He thrives on reaction, anger, fear, frustration. But when you respond with calm, he starves. Stillness is not weakness, it's warfare in its highest form. It signals to the spirit realm that you trust the outcome even before it arrives. You've probably noticed it already. Old triggers don't work anymore. The same voices that once caused you to crumble now sound distant. That's because you're not standing where you used to stand. The battlefield hasn't changed, but you have. Heaven has elevated your perspective. You're seeing from above what once overwhelmed you below. It's like standing on a mountain and watching fog clear beneath your feet. The landscape was always there. You just couldn't see it from the valley. That's revelation, the lifting of perception. The moment you see differently, you fight differently. The turning of the war always begins in the mind before it manifests in the world. And now, heaven is making exchanges. The confusion that clouded you is being traded for clarity. The sorrow that weighed you down is being exchanged for strategy. The fatigue that made you doubt yourself is turning into a calm confidence. It's happening quietly, but it's real. The tables have turned. Even creation seems to sense it. The winds that once howled against you now carry you forward. The same fire that once threatened to consume you now lights your path. Everything that once opposed you is being repurposed to advance you. This is what happens when the war turns. All things begin working for you instead of against you. Think of Joseph, betrayed, imprisoned, forgotten, yet every injustice became transportation toward his destiny. When heaven turns the war, the very weapon the enemy used becomes the tool of your promotion. That's divine irony, the poetry of redemption. You may still feel the tremors, the final echoes of resistance. But that's all they are, echoes. They sound loud because they're fading. The enemy always roars before he retreats. You're hearing the sound of his defeat disguised as noise. So stand firm. Don't doubt the silence. It's sacred. This is the pause before manifestation, the deep breath before dawn. Every promise you thought delayed is being positioned even now. You've fought long enough, the commander of heaven's armies has taken over. Victory won't arrive as spectacle, it will appear as peace. The things that once overwhelmed you will soon obey you. You won't have to force change. It will flow naturally because alignment has already been established. This is the turning of the war quiet, holy, unstoppable, and soon, when you look back, you'll see that every battle, every delay, every tear was leading to this, not just your survival, but your authority, because the war didn't end you, it revealed you. You were never meant to emerge from the battle empty-handed. Every scar now carries revelation. Every tear holds authority. What you survived has become your sword. And as peace settles, you'll understand this was never about winning against others, but awakening within yourself. The war turned so you could finally rise whole. You have fought long enough to know that crowns aren't handed out after the battle, they're formed in it. You've been crowned in the midst of fire, not at the end of it. The weight on your spirit was never meant to crush you. It was meant to shape you for royalty. Heaven never places crowns on untested heads. Every scar you carry has become the gold that lines your spiritual crown. The world thinks crowns glitter, but heaven's crowns glow. They're not made of metal, they're woven from mercy, endurance, forgiveness, and faith that refused to die. That is what now rests upon you, unseen by the eyes of man, but unmistakable to the spirit realm, as written in the first letter of Peter, chapter 5, verse 4. When the chief shepherd appears, you will receive the crown of glory everlasting that will never fade. That's not a promise for later. It's a truth unfolding now. The shepherd doesn't wait until the war is over to honor his warriors. He crowns them while the battle still rages, a sign to every watching spirit that perseverance cannot be defeated. You've probably noticed it already. Your peace feels heavier. Your voice carries weight. Your presence changes rooms. That's the evidence of authority. You didn't chase it, you became it. Crowns are not earned by striving. They appear when you survive, surrender. There was once a woman who kept worshipping while everything around her fell apart. Her family mocked her. Her finances vanished. Her prayers echoed unanswered. Yet, she sang anyway, and heaven took notice. One night, she felt a warmth on her shoulders, invisible, but real. She knew then that her praise had turned to power. She hadn't escaped the storm, she had outlasted it. That's where you stand, now crowned. Not because you're done fighting, but because you refuse to bow. You're walking proof that endurance is divine royalty in disguise. When heaven crowns you, it doesn't separate you from people, it sends you back to lift others. That's the beauty of true glory. It multiplies itself. You don't wear this crown to be admired, you wear it to be a mirror. Every time you speak encouragement, share your story, or extend grace, your crown glimmers a little brighter. And if these words have found you tonight, if they've poured oil into a weary soul, then this is your reminder you're not the only one carrying light. There's a family of chosen ones rising quietly, all over the world. Their crowns hidden under humility. You are part of that symphony. That's why I ask you gently, with no pressure, no demand, if this message touched something deep inside you, let your light ripple outward. When you like, it's like lifting a lantern higher so others can see. When you share, it's like placing that lantern on another's doorstep saying, "Here, this helped me. Maybe it will help you too." And when you subscribe, it's like joining a choir you can't yet see. Voices of faith blending together across nations. You become part of a current that carries hope into unseen corners of the earth. If your heart ever feels stirred to do more, to donate, think of it not as payment, but as planting. Seeds sown in gratitude have a way of growing where you'll never walk. Maybe your small gift will become someone's answered prayer. Or the reason another voice finds courage again. Giving here isn't about obligation. It's about continuation. It's saying, let this flame keep burning. And every act of generosity, big or small, is like setting another crown upon someone's head. You're saying, if I've found light, I'll help another find it too. That's how heaven multiplies glory through shared grace. And if this message resonates deeply, comment below. I wear my crown. Emily, it's not pride, it's remembrance, a way of saying, I survived. I'm still standing. And I carry heaven's glory quietly. Your words may become the spark that reminds someone else they are royalty too. So if this message resonates, let it sit quietly in your spirit. You don't need to act out of pressure. You can act out of peace. Like if it reminded you who you are, share if you want to hand someone else a lantern in the dark. Subscribe if you feel called to walk with this growing family of light bearers. And give if your heart whispers that this oil should keep flowing, because that's how crowns are passed on, not through ceremony, but through love. The kingdom grows through small, sincere choices that echo louder than applause. You are crowned, chosen one, not by men, but by mercy. And now, as you carry that invisible glory into the world, every act of light you make becomes heaven's reflection on earth. There comes a moment when light no longer hides. It doesn't need to announce itself, it simply shines. And everything around it adjusts. That is where you are now standing in a new brightness that can no longer be contained. Your light, once fragile, now carries the weight of wisdom. It doesn't flicker for attention, it burns for purpose. Hell has always feared that moment, the moment a chosen one realizes that their glow is not decoration, but disruption. Darkness cannot comprehend light that knows its own strength. That's why the attacks have been relentless, the whispers persistent, the distractions constant. But all of that was confirmation. The enemy doesn't waste his energy on the dim. As spoken in the book of John, chapter 1, verse 5, the light shines in darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. That verse has never been truer than it is for you now. You've spent seasons questioning your value, wondering if your light was enough. But look, you're still here, still shining. The darkness tried everything. Discouragement, delay, deception. Yet your flame refused to go out. You've become proof of that scripture, walking light. Untouchable by shadow. But light doesn't exist only to survive. It exists to expose. Your presence reveals what's hidden, not to shame, but to heal. That's why some people feel uncomfortable around you. Your clarity confronts what they've been avoiding. The truth you carry irritates deception. Yet you were never meant to dim yourself to make others comfortable. You were meant to illuminate paths they didn't know were possible. There's a story of a woman who felt invisible her whole life. She tried to blend in, speak softly, never stand out. But one day, after years of feeling small, she finally said to herself, I'm done hiding. The next morning, she walked differently, not arrogant, but aware. People began to notice her. Opportunities began to follow, and joy returned. Nothing external changed. Only her light finally stopped, apologizing for existing. That's what's happening in you now. Heaven is no longer asking you to wait, it's asking you to shine. The world doesn't need another imitation. It needs your authenticity. Your light was not meant to compete. It was meant to clarify. When you walk in truth, the false begins to fall away, naturally. You've learned that brightness doesn't come from trying harder. It comes from burning purer. The clearer your motives, the stronger your radiance. That's why the last season felt like stripping heaven was removing soot from the flame. Every heartbreak, every silence, every pruning moment was polishing your soul until only truth remained. Light carries memory. Every trial you've endured, every tear you've cried, has been converted into illumination. You no longer see through the eyes of pain, but through the lens of purpose. What once confused you now makes sense. Not because circumstances changed, but because you see from a higher vantage point. Think of yourself as a lighthouse on the edge of a dark sea. Ships you'll never meet navigate safely because you exist. You don't chase them, you just keep shining. Some will thank you. Others will sail on, unaware. But all will benefit from your steadiness. That's the quiet power of light. And yes, light attracts attention, both holy and hostile. But don't fear it. Shadows only appear where there is brightness. Their presence doesn't diminish you, it proves you're glowing. You've reached a stage where silence speaks louder than argument. Peace overpowers panic, and grace outlasts every wound. That's the authority of one who knows their origin. You're not shining to prove anything. You're shining because that's what light does. There will come a day soon when you'll look around and realize the atmosphere has changed. What once resisted you now respects you. What once intimidated you now follows your lead. Not because you demanded it, but because your consistency created order. The light in you is not just personal, it's generational. It will pass through your words, your actions, your presence. Others will find their courage in your calm. You'll become a living reminder that even after war, radiance can return. The enemy trembles not because of what you say, but because of what you've become: unbreakable, unshakeable, unhidden. The darkness knows now that it cannot win. It can only watch as your glow fills the places it once ruled. So, walk forward, chosen one, quietly, steadily, powerfully. You don't need applause, you carry evidence. You are not waiting for light, you are the light. And wherever you step next, the shadows will know their time is over. There is a sacred calm that follows every battle, not silence born of emptiness, but quiet, born of completion. You've arrived there now. The war that once roared around you has grown still, not because the world changed, but because you did. You've become the equilibrium that chaos can no longer disturb. The light in you has steadied into something enduring, like embers that never fade. Victory doesn't always announce itself with noise. Sometimes it comes disguised as peace. The same storms that once terrified you now sound like distant memories. You used to pray for escape, but now you thank God for endurance. You realize the goal was never avoidance of pain, but mastery over it, as revealed in the book of Hebrews, chapter 12, verse 1. Let us run with endurance the race that is set before us. And those words describe your entire journey, a divine marathon, not a sprint. You have learned the art of pacing your spirit, trusting that what belongs to you will find you. You've discovered that endurance is not stubbornness, it's sacred rhythm, knowing when to move and when to rest, when to speak and when to stay silent. You've reached the point where both heaven and hell know your name, not for rebellion or fame, but for resilience. Heaven calls you a vessel, hell calls you a threat. Both realms understand your impact now. You've become what the enemy feared and what heaven hoped, a living testimony of divine perseverance. There was once a young man who thought victory meant never bleeding. Every time life wounded him, he felt like he had failed. But one night, he read about Jacob wrestling with the angel and walking away, limping yet blessed. He realized then that victory doesn't mean walking unscarred, it means walking transformed. From that moment, he stopped hiding his limp and began using it as a lesson. You've learned the same. Your scars are sermons, not signs of weakness. Look back for a moment, not to mourn, but to marvel. Every season that tried to bury you became soil for your growth. Every betrayal built discernment. Every closed door redirected your steps toward better ones. You once prayed for a lighter load, but now you see that strength was the greater gift. You have become strong without becoming hard, wise without becoming cold, bold without losing tenderness. You carry in your spirit the quiet gravity of someone who has seen both darkness and dawn and chosen light every time. The war that once consumed your nights has become the story that defines your days. You no longer flinch at shadows, you study them, knowing light always wins. Victory has changed you. It has softened your heart, not hardened it. You no longer need to prove, perform, or persuade. You are simply present. You've learned that the truest strength isn't in striking back, but in standing still, letting love do the heavy lifting. And yet, this isn't an ending. It's a continuation, wrapped in peace. The war may have quieted, but your purpose expands. The fire doesn't fade, it focuses. You've been prepared for a higher kind of service, one that doesn't seek platforms, only presence. You are no longer reacting to life, you are responding with purpose. This is what victory feels like, not adrenaline, but awareness. The knowledge that nothing wasted you. The understanding that even your detours were divine. The revelation that God didn't just protect you from destruction, He prepared you for destiny. Every breath you take now is borrowed grace. Every step forward is sacred ground. You don't have to chase miracles. You've become one. You've walked through shadows and emerged luminous. You've faced darkness and discovered that you were light all along. You stand now as evidence, living proof that redemption is real, that faith works, that love always outlasts pain. The heavens watch, the earth listens, and eternity records. The war has ended, but the purpose has just begun. You are not who you were when this began. You're wiser, deeper, purer, and infinitely stronger. The scars on your soul shine like stars, now reminders that light always leaves a mark. So breathe, rest. The fight has fulfilled its purpose. The storm has surrendered. You've been crowned, refined, and revealed. And now, you walk as one who is both witness and weapon, gentle, fearless, unstoppable. This is your victory quiet, complete, eternal. The heavens know your name now, not as a soldier still fighting, but as a victor walking in peace. You have become the calm after centuries of storms, and as eternity watches, your light keeps moving, whispering through time that faith still conquers, love still heals, and chosen ones still rise. And now, chosen one, We've reached the quiet after 17 waves of revelation. You've seen the war, felt the fire, and walked through shadow into light. Every word you've heard was never meant to entertain you, it was meant to awaken you. And now, that awakening has begun. If these words have found you, it means heaven has trusted you with remembrance of who you are, of what you carry, of how much light still exists inside you. You're not just a listener to this message, you're part of its unfolding story. Each breath you take now ripples through eternity like a quiet anthem. I made it. No. And as you stand in this peace, I ask you gently, if this message moved you, let it move through you. When you like, it's more than a reaction. It's a whisper to heaven saying, I agree. No, when you share, it's like placing a lamp in the hands of someone still walking through the night. You're not promoting content, you're passing on light. When you subscribe, it's like joining a family you didn't know you had. A gathering of souls learning to rise together. One message at a time. And if your heart feels stirred to don it, let it never be out of pressure. Only peace. Think of it as pouring oil into a lamp that's helped you see a way to say, keep the flame alive. Not just for me, but for those who still wander. Your giving doesn't buy miracles, it sustains them. It tells heaven, I want to help light find another heart. M. And finally, if your spirit resonates, comment below, I rise with light. M. Let those 4 words be your signature, soft but strong. A declaration that this message didn't end here, it continues in you. You are the echo heaven sent into this generation, proof that love survives wars, that purpose outlives pain, and that chosen ones always rise again.